let's take a look at your Caribbean report for tonight. St. Lucia's Tourism and Civil Aviation Minister Alan Chastanet has requested a meeting of his counterparts in the region to discuss problems facing civil aviation. And Mr. Chastanet says that one of the important matters he hopes to raise in his proposed meeting is the situation with the regional airline Liat. The company is forecasting to register a $5.5 million loss on its operation from last year. Mr. Chastanet told reporters that while there are certain factors over which Liat had no control, they could be anticipated, such as the price of fuel. He also believes that there is a fundamental structural problem existing within Liat. And the world's largest running trade dispute is over after the European Parliament on Thursday approved a deal to cut import tariffs on Latin American bananas. Edwin Lurrett, a trade expert with the Commonwealth Secretariat in London, told BBC reporters that the arrangement will erode the level of protection they need against cheaper bananas from Latin America. The UK's Fair Trade Foundation is also concerned that the EU Latin American deal will be detrimental to Caribbean farmers. It says that they are competing against far larger and far more mechanized production in Latin America. Currently, the EU gets 70% of its bananas from Latin America, 20% from Africa, and Caribbean and Pacific regions only a 10% growth within the EU. The arrangement has yet to be made official by the World Trade Organization. And finally, Caribbean takes note of Egypt. With violence in Egypt growing over the past week, some people in the Caribbean have begun to suggest that there is much to learn from what's happening in the Middle East region. In an editorial on the Jamaican newspaper Gleaner on Friday, there was a call to take note of the ongoing developments, not just in Egypt, but in Tunisia, Algeria, and Jordan. Comparisons with several unemployment and inability of government to address its issues dodging the economy were drawn and seen as parallels that the authorities in Kingston should take note of. In Antigua, there have been calls for a mimic of the Egyptian People's Power movement. Opposition Antigua Labour Party spokesman Osbert Frederick, speaking at a public rally on Thursday, called for his supporters to stand up like the Egyptians against Prime Minister Baldwin Spencer. Osbert Frederick went on to suggest that Prime Minister Baldwin Spencer is the Monarch of Antigua and Barbuda. And that's your Caribbean report for this evening. And now we go back to the governor's remarks from the Palms Hotel as he spoke to the Chamber of Commerce about the important communication plans for the Virgin Islands. Let's take a look.
Even as we deal with those issues, I think at the same time, we have to look at what's beyond these years and look at the investment that you're making and what we're trying to facilitate at the same time. We have a stimulus program that has provided to the Virgin Islands government over $300 million for the last 2.5 years. Next year it runs out when most of the funding that's been available for our operating budget goes by the side, and that's what contributes to our deficit. At the same time, it's a program that allowed us to make tremendous investments in energy and also within education. Off of that effort, we're going to build on the broadband within the territory, where over $100 million will be invested to be able to have a middle mile that will allow us to have more connectivity, faster speeds, and an expansion of what businesses that are in telecommunications and information technology can provide, not by government being in competition, but by government being strictly a facilitator of that effort. Out of that will also grow over 70 public computer centers, from senior citizens' homes to schools to libraries, where people can go and access the internet without paying, without a fee, and solely by the need and the enjoyment that they have. It will also facilitate small business development by giving individuals a chance to go to certain points that if you're interested in technology, then the ability to write code, the ability to think of web designs are there and will be available to you without cost. We also have 3 hotel projects on St. Croix that are fully permitted, both at the local level and at the federal level. It's now strictly a matter of the investment being made by those individuals. No other island within the territory right now has 3 hotel projects that are ready to go the minute the development can take place. And we recognize as a government that we may have to go the next step and possibly at some point, as I mentioned in the State of the Territory, begin to look at some sort of a guarantee, some sort of an investment that will facilitate the starting of those projects. We have more cruise ship traffic that is taking place within the Virgin Islands than we've ever had before. We have cruise lines that are shifting from other destinations, looking at St. Croix as the itinerary of choice, and the response rate and what they get on the visitors has always been one that to them, but not to us, to them is most surprising.
And when we come back from this break, Pearl B. Larson hoops it up on the Sports 411. Stay with us. It was Pearl B versus Ricardo Richards in your Sports 411 tonight. Let's take it to Stephen Koo Francis.
Thanks a lot, Joe. Well, this past week in the ML Plasket East Little League had their season opener at the DC Canagator Ballpark, where we had the Commissioner of Housing, Parks, and Recreation, Sinclair Williams, to delegate to Congress Donna Christensen and Senator Alicia Chucky Hansen in the House for the opening ceremonies and parade of teams. Well, this year the league have 15 teams. This is the most they have had in a long time. Way to go. The league also honored the late Valmy Thomas and Joe Samuel, who have been in a part of the Little League for at least 40 years. But Samuel's grandson, he had the honors to throw out the first pitch. Well, folks, did get it past home plate, nearly took out the cameraman. Oh, way too high, way too high. Oh, buddy. Folks, then it was time to play ball. Well, we had the Little Yankees taking on Little Reds. Well, on the mound for Little Reds was Julio Carmona Jr. Top of the first with a man on first. Khalid James hits one hard to left field. Driving in the game, first run, James. He puts on the Jets, comes all the way around for the home run, giving the Yankees a 2-0 lead. Well, next up was Tariq Malloy. He too goes deep to left field. He then turns on the Jets. Look at the hustle. Look at the little youngster hustle to come around to score as Little Yankees won 10-6 over Little Reds. Brandon Ramos saying he got the win. Khalil James, he went 3 for 3 with a home run and 5 RBIs. Tariq Malloy, he went 1 for 2 with a home run and an RBI. For the Little Reds was Jabiel Flynn. He went 2 for 3 with a home run and 3 RBIs. In the 10-12 division, Blazers edged out the Reds 7-6. DJ Felix, he got the win. Devon Daniel went 1 for 2 with a home run and an RBI. Luis Vera, he went 2 for 2 with a home run and an RBI. Still in the 10-12 division, the Suns beat the Dodgers 5-1. Kimo Ferdinand, he got the win. And Ronald Shank III, he went 1 for 1 with a home run and 4 RBIs. Folks, the action continued next weekend. And well, the ML Plasket East has started something new this season. It's called the Player of the Week. In each age group, they honor the player who had the best stats that week. Well, in the 7-9 division, Jabari Davis, he went 3 for 3 with a home run and 6 RBIs. He was the Player of the Week in the 7-9 division. And in the 10-12 division, Ronald Shank III, he went 1 for 1 with 4 RBIs, a grand slam. He is the Player of the Week in the 10-12 division. So congratulations to this week Players of the Week. Moving right along. Also this week in the elementary basketball tipped off their regular season, folks. We had the Pearl B. Larson Dolphins taking on the Ricardo Richards. Well, Ricardo Richards jumped out to an early 6-0 lead. But in the fourth quarter, here comes Pearl B. as they close out the game on a 10-2 run led by Earl Baker Jr., who, folks, he finished with 6 points as they came back to win an exciting one, 15-14. Folks, that's a look at your Sports 411 update. I'm Stephen Koo Francis. News Channel 8. Back to you, Jerome.